Knowledge is one of the most powerful things that anyone can acquire. And the reason I say this is because we live in society that is chock full of knowledge, but nobody consume it. Everyone consume media, m- memes, news, fast digesting reels. All of those things are people are consuming nowadays. They spend hours consuming. Let's just look at TikTok, Instagram. Doom scrolling is one of the most unproductive thing that anyone could do. But I don't know why we still do it. I have no idea. Maybe because it's quick, it's effortless, and it's infinite. And we ruin our life doom scrolling. So in this new age of technology, you can find basically any knowledge that any human could ever wanted on the internet. That's how crazy it is. Like back in the days, you would have to go through paywall, go to a teacher, or even do research on your own to find the knowledge that you want. But now, like if you just typed in Google or type in ChatGPT, it will pop up for you. It will just say, "Oh, this is what you need. This is what you should do. This is all the information that you would want to know." And boom. So, like I said, knowledge is the most important thing ever. And if you don't have the knowledge necessary to combat a certain situation, you're just there clueless. That's obvious. So, what I essentially want you to hear, okay? I know that you might think, oh, this is point. Of course, I know this. Knowledge, of course, is power. I know this. Sure. But but the habit that I want you to get to is reading. Okay? So, in all my life, the only knowledge that really stick is either when I experience it or when I read it and applied it. Things just tend to stick a bit faster when you're reading something about it. Because think about this. You can search something up online really quick, like, oh, how would I uh play this certain character in this game? Or like how would I fix a TV or something? You can search that out. If you don't do anything about it, that knowledge is gonna kind of fade away. Um, so it's the same thing with TikTok and Reels, because you learn something real quick, and then you scroll onto it and you move on to the next one. You learn something real quick, you scroll and move on to the next. It might seem like, oh, I'm being decently productive if you like getting like productive reels where it's go like it teaches you something and you learn something, but realistically, you're not doing anything off of it. If you think about it, if you're like playing a video game and you specifically spend 30 minutes watching a video on how to play certain characters, how exactly would you learn to play that character? It's not through watching more videos, it is through going to the game and applying yourself. That's the best way that it will stick. So the way that a book work is it kind of hammer on the same lesson over and over again a lot of time. So when you're reading a book, it stick on that same lesson because a lot essentially there's only so much lesson they can put onto a book. There's only so much space into the book the author will want to convey a certain message as the most efficient way as possible. But with the internet, it's almost limitless. It's infinite. You can find 1,000 way to convey the same lesson. So with a book, you kind of narrow it down to kind of one way to kind of ingest this information because there's so many ways to do one thing. Like you can possibly could spend your whole life doing one thing and you wouldn't be finished with every ways. So with a book, it narrowed down on exactly what you would want to do. And you can use that to start applying. It's just much more straightforward compared to watching multiple videos on one subject and everyone giving you a different input. A book is long enough so that it will convey the message. It will show you the importance of it, and it will show you how to do it. So read the book. Okay, it might seem hard for you because I know that you struggle with reading books because uh you just find it pointless. Like in school, you read some book for school. Yeah, you probably completely dread it. You don't like how um you have to look at words, can picture something, and you have to write an essay about it, and that sucks. It really does sucks. So, in my personal opinion, the best way for me, the way that my brain work, is I'm a more logical person. So I like things a lot more straightforward. So maybe the best way for someone that is a more logical person to approach reading book is by reading nonfiction, where they just give you the lesson straight away. Or just throw the lesson to you, you ingest it, and you just go move on with your day. Something like How to Win Friends and Influence People, uh, Think and Grow Rich. Those are the type of book that are popular nowadays. There is a reason why it's popular in the first place, um, but they're nonfiction. So that's for me. I'm kind of a logical person. If you're like I'm more of a creative person, like you're trying to like you understand through a more creative process. You understand more through a story that kind of envelop in certain characters, maybe some fantasy with it. Then try fiction. Personally, I haven't tried much fiction, and I would like to get into it on some day because I feel like it's a lot more interesting than just getting lesson through lesson. I've been through enough book where I can say that, oh, this is getting kind of repetitive and it's kind of boring sometimes. So maybe I'll try to pick up some sort of fiction and see how that goes because I feel like that would pass the time reading a lot better, and it wouldn't be so much of a dread every single time I open a book. Because I remember back in the day when I tried nonfiction, the first time when I tried it, everything was new. Like the way that I read, the way that things just kind of flow as I read it. I was going through books every week or so. I was reading a book every week, and that was amazing. And I feel great. I was reading a book every single week, and I kept that for like 6 or 7 book, and it just kind of dawned on me. I was like, oh, maybe I should try something else. So, anyways, I went up on a little side rant, but what have changed my life was reading book because a lot of knowledge nowadays are locked behind a paywall. So just think about it. Like if you want to learn content creation, if you want to learn essentially any skill, is put behind a paywall. But think about it. Back in the day, there was no such thing as online payment. There was no such thing as, oh, social media marketing, blah, 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 blah. So the people back in the day, the only way they would make money is by inputting that knowledge into a book and hoping people would buy it. That's the only way they would make a lot of money through content. So you're essentially getting the same package deal that you pay $10,000, $20,000 online, but instead just have a book. A book, how much does a book cost? 20, $30 max. And you get all the knowledge from everyone. It's a pretty good deal. It's just have to read it. So I know it sucks. And I definitely think at your age, you probably think, oh, you would just blow this off because who'll read a book? But the worst birthday gift you can get on your birthday is a book. Because now I wish for a book on my Christmas gift, on everything, because I feel like having a big book connection is so cool. Maybe that's how I change. So I recommend reading a book. It will probably change your life, and as it did mine. But other than that, later.